All right, we're on. Cool. Sorry. Right. So, yeah. Kaya, Adam, Kaya.
You just really interrupted me and Adam to start the podcast. All right. Well, thanks for the countdown. But yeah, Adam, I think I was saying before the camera started rolling that your episodes, and your episode with Faisal previously, Kareem's, and Onali's episodes with Faisal previously are like the basically the inspiration for these episodes, right? Which is like casual chat, everyone just like being themselves kind of thing. Not that we're not by ourselves usually, but like just hyper casual, talking about anxiety 1 minute, chocolates the next, that kind of stuff. It's good stuff, man.
Conversation. Elite tier conversation, as I would say. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, so I was just opening up the ENAT doc. Thanks to everyone who filled it in, Kaya, and for everybody else.
I messaged you what I wanted to talk about.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Oh, yeah. Fine. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm running this stream and I've got Lightroom open, Photoshop open. This is gonna kill, and the stream open. So let me just close some of these things down.
That's what's causing issues with my connection, Faisal. That's
it could be. I've got I should have at least restarted my computer, shouldn't I? Okay, so Notion's open. I've got all these things open that we really do not need open right now. My calendar app is open. This is absurd.
You're a busy man. You got to check the calendar every few minutes.
I got Apple News app open. I was going to look at news for this podcast and I didn't get a chance. So,
you got to make sure you don't have to slap that red light on any second, man.
All right, cool. So it's good. Fine. So how is everybody? So the biggest news from since last week is that this kind of episode was an astounding success. Or is it an outstanding success? It was which, by the way, also reminds me. Can I just say something? With saying words wrong, I've been saying for the longest time, like, when someone lives vicariously through somebody else, right? Like a father lives vicariously for his son. And for like the longest time, I've been using that term like forever, but I've always said vicariously, not vicariously, and nobody ever corrected me until the other day. A true one, I don't know who it was. Was it you, Kyle?
I don't remember you using this word.
Somebody corrected me. I think it was actually someone on the Tortilla team, or maybe even. And I said vicariously. They were like, "Oh, I think you mean vicariously," and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So for years and years, I've been using that, and I'm such a scary, beefy figure that I'm so alpha that nobody chose to, everyone's scared obviously to...
I'm just thinking in my head now, even if I realized that you were saying that word wrong before, I would think to myself, but you can't say anything.
Yeah.
Just be quiet. Yeah, you can't, man. You just got to just let someone like you just got to let it slide.
Exactly, yeah, of course.
Am I the only person who doesn't know what it means?
Vicariously?
Yeah, I'm going to read out the definition.
Yeah, you read that. You tell us. Educate us.
Vicarious. An experience... No, I even started the definition wrong. Experienced in the imagination through the feelings or actions of another person. I.e., this catalogue brings vicarious pleasure in luxury living.
That's a rubbish example.
That's a very bad example.
Okay, a really simple example, Adam, is, let's say, for example, I have a son, right? And I get my son into boxing class, and I'm I'm getting him the best boxing gloves and everything, and it's like I'm even more excited than him for boxing. And you can make the argument that because I was so rubbish at boxing when I was little, I'm living vicariously through Zachariah, so I'm enjoying him doing boxing because really I'm getting a fulfillment out of it as if I'm living through him.
I see. Acting or done for another, a vicarious atonement. There you go. That's
these are horrible.
Those definitions literally are making me doubt if I even know the definition of the word.
Yeah, I'm going to close this page.
I'm glad Phil's has come through with these. The one that always comes to mind is did you ever go to, or did you ever play Sunday League football? Anybody?
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. So some of the parents on the sidelines were living vicariously through their children, and they were screaming and shouting, acting as if it was a World Cup final, and getting in the referee's face and doing all kinds of madness because they were living vicariously through their children. On the pitch, playing football when they'd love to play football or they never played football, and that came to my mind. It was living vicariously, and that's how it can kind of go to an extreme, I guess.
Do they have a Sunday League football in Spain, Kareem?
No, not that I know. They have leagues, but I don't know about Sunday. What's the Sunday league football exactly?
Literally, I mean, to be honest, the Sunday league is literally just leagues
On Sundays.
played on a Sunday. Yeah.
There's also Saturday, and they call it men's
Saturday
league.
leagues. Yeah,
What
usually,
age
for
is
some
it
reason the
talking
kids usually
about?
play on Sundays. Yeah, and the men's play on Saturdays.
It's
But
weird.
yeah,
So
it's just
is it
the
through
league.
school, or is it like independent from school?
No, it's independent from school. It's kind of like the Football Association in UK. They set up these leagues, like regional leagues. So like there's the Cheshunt League for like Northern London teams, that kind of thing. Yeah, just play games against each other on a Sunday. They call it Sunday League. That's the unofficial name for it.
It's like a level up, Kareem, from like just playing football with the boys. It's like actively competing in football, and you can win cups and trophies within your region.
Yeah, no, I get that. That. I'm just trying to compare it to what we have in Spain. In Spain, you have whatever you get from the school that you're at, whether it's a high school or primary school or whatever. That has each school has its team, and then you have clubs. That's it. I don't think you get.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean,
Sunday league
the
is
Sunday
like
league
clubs,
ones.
really.
Yeah,
Sorry?
they are like
It's like a
clubs,
club?
but they're just like they're not really clubs. They're like regional clubs, little clubs, not big clubs.
Do they have a coach and training?
Yeah, they have a coach, but it's all like volunteers. It's like 99% volunteer work kind of thing.
No, we
Again,
don't have
everybody
that.
lives vicariously
I don't
through the children. Like, yeah, just
I
trying
don't
to
think
get
we have that.
So, Kareem, you know
I wonder how many
Nadir and
times we're
Maghreb
going to use that
FC.
word this episode.
Yeah.
That's Sunday League Club.
Sure.
Adam, do you have a
Fine.
storm going on over there as well?
Yeah, can you,
I was gonna say, like,
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
it's
are you okay to
crazy,
carry on this
bro.
podcast?
that is crazy. There's lightning, there's leaves everywhere.
We were having a general conversation. Adam is fighting a storm.
You see that tree moving? It's crazy. It's scaring me a little bit.
Yeah, man. I noticed it earlier, and I was like, bro, is this guy gonna be
I
alright?
keep looking like this, and it's distracting you all.
Is it? Are you at home, Adam?
I am at home.
And where's home? London.
No, that's his
in
office,
London.
with the
Yeah,
with teddy bear in the background. So.
Sunday evening I'm at work.
Offices these days. You don't know.
Alhamdulillah, it seems to be it's not calming down. Yeah, strange. I shouldn't have sat.
Would you ever get an office, Adam? Because obviously your work can be like contracting, can't it? Anyone who doesn't know is living under a tree, because we talk about every episode of Fresh Ground with Adam's here. But you're UX researcher.
UX research, yeah. So
UX
yeah, you
researcher,
contract.
which is
I've done it before. It's you can. There's a massive bit of lightning again.
Yes.
You can. Yeah, offices wherever you like to, where you feel comfortable working.
Would you,
So, I mean,
so you've never got yourself like a shared co-working space?
No, I can't bother with that. Well, no, I would never do. No. I would rather just work from spare room, box room, kitchen. It's never room in the house now.
Is your work heavily like meeting based, or not? Or really you have meetings? Is it more like just sort of reporting by yourself, kind of working, or is there a lot of meetings going on?
Loads of meetings. There's loads of meetings. Oh man. Yeah, it's just a lot of it's communicating with different people, different teams, bringing stuff together, sharing insights, stuff like that.
Fair
Now,
enough.
only go on, Kai.
No, go on. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, only if for those people who are watching the podcast on YouTube, they would be forgiven for thinking that if that chair wasn't behind you, that you were just a floating head.
Yeah.
But that is a beautiful thought, Wallah Mubarak. That's a beautiful thought.
Oh, no, you know what? I was actually going to say, I was going to mention Kareem's one. Kareem, every time I see you in that throwback, Allah Mubarak.
Oh, mashallah. Excellent.
Yeah.
Decision.
Sorry? Yeah.
I said it was a last-minute decision. I didn't know we were doing thobes today.
I didn't either, but actually, you just took over the whole screen.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh, Adam!
So did you see that? Did you see that?
I saw that. We should replay. Did you see that? We should replay that. That got caught 9 minutes in. Yeah, that was mad.
Sorry,
I was too busy. I was too busy looking at Kareem's beautiful thobe, so I couldn't do that quickly enough. But that's basically Kareem's way of basically like subtly saying that I'm Moroccan.
So hold on. Are you? Is Adam, Onali, and Kareem? Are you guys not in the same city? Are you not all in London right now?
I'm in London, so.
Where else do you think I would be?
Yeah, exactly. So why is it just Adam experiencing a storm?
No, I said mine's crazy, actually.
Oh, okay.
I'm just a bit further away from the window, but I can't see anything outside the window.
Oh, so there's a storm.
really
A storm
bad.
is a brewing.
Yeah.
There's a storm
Yeah, I
coming
wonder what
or
they're gonna name
brewing. No, you could say the storm has been brewed.
The
It is
storm,
brewing. The storm is brewing.
the storm is brown.
Yeah,
It's brown.
Storm is brown.
The storm has
Storm is
brown.
brewed. It's
The
been
thing I
drunk.
love,
It's
yeah.
drunken.
Yeah.
The drunken storm.
What I love is that you actually could have unlocked a new content type here, Adam, because the way you've set your camera up is like it's 90% the window and like just you looking at it. You can
Yeah.
actually do a reaction video to the storm, which is like, you see that?
So the reason why I've done
like,
this is there's stuff behind me. It's a mess. So I'm like, I can't do that. So I'm slowly sitting in a really weird position. Like, here we go. I don't usually sit like this, but
This is half podcast, half watch along.
half watch. You know, we should do a watch along. We should do a watch along
should.
party or something.
I was
All
thinking,
right.
I mentioned this about like, doing like a reaction type video, but yeah, it's too. It'll be too tricky to do it, and we'll fall into things we don't want to fall into. I think.
It's very, very hard to do a reaction video and keep it all like, yeah, like you could fall into backbiting, you could fall into mocking. Like it's just so difficult. Not to say people don't do it well, but yeah, it'd be hard. All right, so I'm going to open up the ENAT doc.
Like a show. Like we watched a new show and we're like, oh, I didn't expect that.
And then you backbite it.
But then you got to select the show where it's like, all right, no,
Yeah,
like,
it's almost impossible to find a show.
Peppa
You
Pig
end up
only.
like reacting
Can't do
to
anything.
a child's like nursery thing. It was like, all right, yeah,
CBeebies. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you're
Even
right.
then it's a bit dodgy.
Yeah, let's
Yeah, it
just not
gets
do that.
tricky.
Yeah, it's tricky.
So okay, so I'm going to open up the. Oh my gosh, I just saw that again, Adam.
Shall I turn
You're
the
missing
lights
it,
off and
man.
see what it looks like?
Yeah, that'd be good.
do it.
Shall we do that? How do I turn this off?
There'll be people screaming at their tellies right now.
Oh, it
going,
looks
"This is
rubbish now. No,
gold."
go back on.
Yeah.
Sorry, can
Adam
I just ask?
flexing-
Did you
flexing his
turn
home
your-
automation system?
Did you? Yeah. Did you
it's
just turn your light on and off without
It's
actually
from-
standing up and going to the switch?
No, it's app. It's we talked about this ages ago, like home automation on your phone. Is yeah. I've stuck them to the wall, so it's it looks like it's using the light. The light switch is there. It look yeah. If you saw it in real life, isn't it very nice?
That is incredible. That is smart home at its
It's
finest.
not incredible at all. It's literally on Amazon. Anyone can buy it. It's terrible. It's
Right, so
not
I'm
that good.
I'm opening up the ENAT doc. There's a couple notes here, and let's go with Kaya. Let's go with your note, the one about Napoleon. Hold on.
You're like choosing between it. There's like so much to choose between.
No, because I was actually
Like,
with
scrolling
mine.
through, like,
Was,
which should we go?
I was thinking,
You
should
see
we
what
go-
yours or mine, mate?
Yeah, I know. But I was thinking which ones. I was like, if we go with mine, if I select mine, that's quite obnoxious. So I was like, the only other option is to go with
No, I
cards.
actually want
But
to
now
hear yours.
I'm,
I actually want to hear yours. 'Cause
fine,
my
now
one-
I'm reading yours.
I'm not. Yeah, go on.
I'm reading yours about battle tactics. I'm thinking, is this what we want to discuss for 5 hours? It could be.
Am I in the same doc? What?
Yeah, mine just updated now as well. I haven't seen any of this
Let me see.
Oh, okay.
Do you have it? Do you have it
for
now?
some reason. I do have it now.
Hey, so let's start with your one because I think like yours is probably just more interesting. Mine's just like a weird thought, but yours is actually like an interesting one.
Okay, fine. So my note that I've got in the ENAT doc says it says saying thank you instead of sorry and labeling emotions. So this is something that I came across a tweet about a week or two ago, and then since then there's been a few things that I've consumed, like books or content which have kind of like aligned in this pattern of thinking that I thought, oh, it all gels well together, and now maybe it's something we can discuss. So the tweet that I came across was by James Clear, the guy who wrote what was it called, Kareem? Atomic Habits, which I believe you recommended me, didn't you?
No, I didn't recommend it because I first heard of it from Freshly Grounded. It was Akhi Tweet, Muhammad recommended it to you.
Oh, okay, fine. So Akhi Tweet recommended me the book, and so James Clear is the author. James Clear wrote a tweet about saying thank you instead of sorry, right? And I think we've heard of this concept before, and the idea is that saying thank you instead of sorry from like a psychological aspect changes the tone of a conversation and can impact a conversation a lot better, especially in situations where, I don't know, like you've messed up, right? And so I think we all know like the common example, which would be something along the lines of like a really easy example would be you've sent someone sent you an email and you've taken way too long getting back to it, and so the idea is instead of saying sorry for the late reply, saying thank you for your patience in me getting back to you, and that's what I always use, and it works great. And I suppose that puts a positive spin on things. But James Clear kind of went in this tweet storm with like more examples and more situations in which you could say thank you instead of sorry. And so everything from some of them kind of sound a bit unnatural, but I can see why it would make sense. So like someone giving somebody criticism, and instead of saying like, you know, or someone giving you criticism, instead of saying, oh, like, sorry, I didn't do it, or sorry, I didn't manage to get it done, instead of saying thank you for expecting more of me, which I think that's a bit unnatural, that one. But like there's
weird.
a bunch. Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Yeah, that is a bit much.
I can actually pull up the article actually, like while I get your guys' thoughts. So that was like the initial.
You know what's
thought.
funny, Faisal?
Go on.
I actually train all the guys at Zaha to not use the word sorry.
I can imagine
Any sort
actually.
of delay and anything like that. It's literally this exact concept. Everyone says thank you for waiting or anything like that. If there's any sort of delay, rather than saying sorry, because it takes it away from like we've made a mistake to thank you for your kindness, thank you for your patience. You know, it makes them feel better as a customer. So we train that as well.
Yeah, so what it led me thinking is so then separately there's other concept that I came across recently, and it's a concept by Chris Voss, the guy who wrote Never Split the Difference, the book about negotiating. And so Chris Voss, he says one of the so this is not about saying thank you, but this is another art of conversation. And what Chris Voss says is that when you're conversating with somebody, you should label their emotion. So it's about having an emotional intelligence. So seeing somebody's emotion, and rather than ignoring it or getting frustrated at it, labeling it, and that helps to, I suppose, like let's talk about the elephant in the room, diffuse a situation really quickly, or like empathize with them. And so if, for example, Adam's like scared of the storm outside, right? Rather than like ignoring it and being like, you could be like, I can imagine it's quite scary to have a storm outside your house while you're recording a really important podcast. Right? So like you've labeled the emotion, and what that makes a person feel is that like you heard them, basically. So that's like another thing that can spin a conversation in a good way. And then obviously like the Dale Carnegie note, which he wrote in How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is use a person's name as much as possible. A person's name to that person is like music to their ears, or no, is like their favorite song or something like that. The idea being that when you use a person's name, it like makes them like you more. So definitely. With all of these concepts in mind, what it led me to think about is I feel like as a society, generally as people, do we study enough the art of conversation? So not language itself, but actually the art of conversating in order to diffuse situations and in order to enhance relationships. If you implement some of these, even just some of these strategies that I just mentioned now, I'd imagine that would vastly improve personal relationships, business relationships, and other relationships. What do you guys reckon?
Nah.
I'm going to pull up the document by James Clear in the meantime.
Yeah, you're right, man. You're right. On the same note, yeah, and I do want to delve into that, what you're saying, which is like optimizing language to build bridges and put positive spins on things. Like you just said, we had a very good example of that, yeah. But what's come to my mind is like how also we should use language and not be afraid to use language that is a little bit quote unquote awkward for other people. Like you just said with that James Clear example of thank you for expecting more of me. Again, a little bit weird, and that's not the exact example I want to use, but like we're going to find ourselves, I'll talk from my own perspective, like I find myself sometimes in a situation where it's like, it's expected of me to say something. Let's say, for example, it's a situation where it's someone's, birthday, and I don't want to celebrate their birthday, I don't want to celebrate birthdays, but it's become expected in a social situation where I should say something. I will say a quote unquote awkward thing that is not congratulating them on the birthday, but trying to be polite about something else about them to just sort of sidestep that. It sounds to them awkward. It sounds to them not the done thing at that point. But I also think like just as we should like try to build bridges with our language, like we should also be just as confident to use language to get out of those situations where you don't want to say certain things to certain people at certain times. It just made me think of that. So a bit of a different tangent I went on, but I do want to explore your tangent as well. But what do you think?
I think that I do agree with you. Chris Voss says that there's 3 ways to speak to people. There's like the late night DJ voice, which is like soothing and calm, which should be used regularly. There's the positive, happy voice, which is like smiling and look at things positively, and that changes the other person's mood, and that should be used the most. And then he said that there's this other voice which you should use, which is what you're saying, which is like the kind of stern, abrupt voice. And he said that should be used very scarcely, because that can do a lot more. 90% of the time that does a lot more damage than it does good, but it's a voice that you should use, like you're rightly saying, but it just has to be used very scarcely in the right times.
Yeah.
Sorry,
and I'm not
why
even
is
saying
the late night DJ voice the quiet one? What does that even mean?
I think what he means is like the radio voice, like
it's like you're tuning the Freshly Grounded. It's 2 a.m. here. You know what I mean? Like,
that's perfect. I like that. I was going to ask Adam to give an example, but I like that. That was perfect.
I was going to go, good evening, James. Yeah, something like that.
That was more like Boris Johnson.
That's more like murderer voice, like last minute here for the person on murder.
We should be using that generally. I don't know what a late night DJ. I haven't heard the radio late night. Don't know what's on there.
You're listening to Freshly Grounded's smooth playlist of jokes by Adam Afghan.
Our best YouTube shorts coming up.
Yeah.
No, I agree. The stern thing is important. I guess what I was trying to pinpoint is like more like language, like rather than like tone and sort of volume. It's more like language. Like I do think your default should be to build bridges with your language, as you're saying, like thank yous instead of sorries, that kind of thing. Another one is like saying we. Right, so we is a big one. Again, in business as well. If someone makes a mistake, you can say, "Hey, how can we fix this? How can we avoid this in the future? Or how can we improve on that?" Instead of saying, "Hey, you messed up. Here's how you can improve," or "Here's how you messed up." When you say we, it's like you're making it feel like a team. You're implying that you yourself, as maybe a boss or a manager or even just a colleague, are also partially responsible. Which a lot of the time is true, because if someone in your team is making a mistake, you are kind of partially responsible, because especially if you're in a senior situation, you should have been, the training should have been better, the guidance should have been better, so on and so forth. So saying we instead of you is a really important one. But yeah, I also think just as much as we should know that, we should also be very, very comfortable to just say things that are quote unquote awkward situations, but will enable us not say things that are impermissible, basically, right? I think we should have that confidence to acknowledge that, okay, I could do a really big, networking, bridge building thing here, but it's not the right thing to say. I'm going to say something that's quote unquote awkward, and I'm going to still be confident with that and just go with that. So, yeah.
I was first going to say that the example that you give from James Clear with the thank you instead of sorry, I find myself needing that type of empathy towards the person that's hearing it, especially when I'm writing as opposed to when I'm speaking, because when I'm speaking I can kind of just make up for it. But then Onali gave his example and that kind of went out the window. But the thing that is still there is that the communication is very short. So I find myself that when I'm writing emails, I do say that thank you instead of sorry, because I'm thinking of that person's going to continue reading and I want them to read it with this tone instead of that tone. Same, I guess, with Only at the restaurant. You're having a very brief interaction with someone and you want to get to the what do you want to order, but let's just get the elephant out of the room, basically, which is, we're kind of late or whatever, we're delayed. So that's that. Then the example that you gave about, what was the example about from Chris Voss?
The Chris Voss example, that was...
labeling emotions.
Yeah, labeling emotions.
Labeling emotions. Yeah, I find that to be more of an oral communication, more of an oral art. And then finally, Kaya, the thing that you mentioned reminds me of something, which is perhaps the first time that I realized someone doing it. Back in the day when I started listening to Mufti Mank, all of the reminders, all of the talks that he would do, to thousands of people, and I would just be listening to the audio version of it. But anytime he would want to essentially say we should do better, or we should, I'm kind of using it already, but anytime he would want to say something that we shouldn't be doing, some people do certain things. Some people, instead of pointing the finger and saying you do this, or some people do that, he would always include himself in it. And as a listener, I had no doubt in my mind that most likely he was probably not part of that crowd, but the fact that he included himself in it made me feel much less defensive and much more open to, yeah, we should all aspire to be better. So it works.
Yeah.
It works.
So the FBI did I think study on the this thing of saying we and I. Yeah? I think it was like the FBI negotiators, right? And what they said is that people who say I, so this is I suppose in like a FBI negotiation scenario, people who say I tend to say I because they're trying to they haven't got as much authority as they would like, and so they're trying to prop up their authority. They're trying to show that they have authority, like, you know, I didn't rob this bank for XYZ. Whereas people who say we, they already have the authority. They tend to have quite a lot of authority, and they're actually trying to they're almost trying to like disregard their authority, kind of thing.
Sorry.
My
Adam's window just like a constant.
I shouldn't have. I closed
There's a
the door.
cat at his window now.
Oh, you're
This is my cat.
joking.
This is my cat.
Oh, it's in the house.
My cat. She usually sits. I close the door. But she came in. Stay there. Don't be naughty. Don't be. Yeah, she's busy.
Oh,
What's your cat's
Carry on.
name?
Pinty.
Pinty. Okay, and
Like
what's the
Pinty, like my
explanation behind that?
daughter.
fine.
What's the explanation behind Pinty?
So like Binti, Arabic, my daughter, just placed B with a P. Pinty, name for a cat, and she's just looking at me. That looks terrifying.
Yeah.
Is she a black cat?
Yeah, I love my bad.
All black. She's a lovely little cat. She's like cover over the curtain. She looks a bit scared.
Face
And
like,
Adam-
does that cat have two ears? Like, bro, it's clearly a black cat, man. What colour is it gonna be?
I can't, bro. Things, webcams and stuff can alter colors, bro. My experience. That could be a grey cat, and we would never have known.
It's a jet black cat. She's very interested in this podcast. Sorry, this window has been so.
It's fine.
It was funny because Faisal was in like some deep
Name it, Adam.
FBI thing. A little cat came past.
Conversation piece.
Yeah. So all I was saying is that like people.
looking at your camera, your window.
Can I also ask Adam quickly? Sorry, you know, with the cat situation, if a new family member was to introduce themselves into your house, right? Let's say, for example, you were to have a child. I've heard that people who have a cat and then they have a child, they have to kick the cat out because the cat becomes too aggressively jealous of like this new person thing and that's getting attention. Is that true? Would you know if that would be something that you'd have to do?
Like cats love like their routine. They don't like when stuff changes. So like when, for example, I don't let her in a room or I change something, she doesn't like it and she starts getting a bit anxious and stuff like that. So yeah, they don't like change. They like to have their own thing, same routine all the time. So when you start changing it or someone comes around, stays for a few days, they act a bit, they start getting a bit anxious. They don't feel comfortable. But cats are the best. You should all get a cat if you didn't have one. Or 2 cats.
You have 2 cats?
I have one, but get another one. I might get another one.
Okay.
Yeah, automatic. About 6 months ago.
Adam? How many cats do you have?
One, singular.
Only in Pakistan had a dog.
Oh.
Beat that. And it was called
Continue.
Rocky.
Continue.
It was called Rocky, yeah. When I was like 5 or 6. Yeah. And then it died. So that was really sad.
That's very sad.
It would be weird if your dog 20 years ago would still be alive, right? Do dogs have like, how long do dogs live for?
I have no idea, to be honest. I
about
was not
20
very
years,
experienced
isn't
in the dog world.
Have you ever had a pet?
Adam might know.
Dog years.
Do you know how many years dogs live?
I think larger dogs live like 20-ish years and smaller dogs like 15, something like that.
Google
But anyway, so
years.
6 months ago, my wife's friend wanted us to look after their cat because they were going back to London for a few months, right? And so we went to their house to see the cat. They'd already left, but there was like a nanny there for a few more days. So we went. The cat was like, loved us. It was coming up to us and sort of cuddling us in their house, right? And we're like, oh yeah, this could be easy. They want us to look after it for a couple of months. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's this lovely cat. We put it in its little bag, took it home, bro. this cat was hunting me in my own home.
Oh, I remember this. This is when I just moved to Dubai. Yeah.
Bro. We got it home. Its attitude changed completely. It went from loving and nice to, if you tried to go near it, it was just mainly me, to be fair. It was scratching me, biting me. When I was trying to put its food in its bowl, it would come and bite me and scratch me up. It was scratched on my arms. And then I thought, okay, it needs some time to adjust. I was trying to leave it alone, do that whole thing. And later that night, I was sitting on the couch and it was hiding underneath the couch, right? But it was like on the other side of the couch. I was like not doing anything. I was on my phone. This thing popped its head out and then it sort of jumped up on the couch near me. And I thought, oh, maybe it's sort of warming up to me. Then it starts walking over to me slowly. I thought, oh, this is nice. Like, we're getting somewhere. Then it started attacking me. It started biting me, scratching me where it did. And at that point, I thought, no, I'm sending this thing home, man. So I just literally, I got my wife to call them and say, look, I can't do that. I can't be hunted in my own living room. So we just sent it back, man. Yeah. So
wait. Where did you send it? Where did you send it back?
Yeah.
So basically, the nanny was still there, for like a couple of days. And so I don't know what they did. I said, look, I'm sorry, you have to find another arrangement. I don't know if they found a kennel, but I've got a daughter as well. I can't have this cat literally hunting me and stuff. I wasn't even doing anything to it. I was sitting down by myself and it come and attacked me. So yeah.
Apparently, if house cats were the size of like lions or like big cats, they would be the most. They would be like the most dangerous or like the most strongest or something. So there's a cat fact.
There you go.
I heard that.
What's your favorite
how long
cat?
did you give it?
I think literally.
Did you give it like a day, 2 days?
I think it was 2 days. Yeah. I mean, I did give it 2 days, but only out of necessity. I decided the first night that we couldn't keep it. So we went to sleep anyway because it was too late. It was already like 11 o'clock by the time I decided that. Like, it attacked me about 11 o'clock, and I thought, okay, we've got to do like one night. We'll take it back tomorrow. I woke up that next morning. I've opened my bedroom door and this thing is waiting for me outside again. It's hunting me, bro. It's not hunting. It was waiting for me on the top of the stairs, just waiting for me. And like, my wife's like, no, don't be silly. It's not doing anything like that. My wife's just going to walk past it, like, let's be casual and go downstairs. It's attack my wife now. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, it's waiting for us to come out of the room to attack us.
Wow.
And I've gone to put it food. It's biting my hand as I'm putting it food. It's like, bro, get out of my house, man.
Yeah.
Male or female?
I mean, his name was Oscar, so I'd imagine male, mate. But
Yeah, in this world, you don't know about it anymore. Yeah.
I don't know what it was. Yeah. I'd imagine.
There's so many animals in Dubai.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
Actually, well, so my area where I live is quite a British area. So loads of people have dogs here. However, like by law, they have to be on a leash. So there are a lot of animals here. So there are a good amount of dogs here, but they're not like there's no aggressive. Like there's types of dogs that you're not allowed here. So you're not allowed like the kind of dogs that it seems like in the UK you can have quite like I know there are some rules, but like you do see like pit bulls and stuff. No, I don't think pit bulls are allowed in the UK, but you do see aggressive dogs. So here you can't have like certain types of dogs. I think you can't have like really aggressive, angry dogs like that. So the dogs here are like small, or they're like, even if they're big, they're friendly, but they're all on leashes, and that's like the main thing. And then like a lot of areas have dog parks, and that's where you can take your dog off the leash. So yeah, I don't visit dog parks, and so I don't necessarily see dogs off leashes. But yeah, like. You know what, Cream? It's a good question because, my experience with traveling a lot, like anywhere outside of the UK, perhaps it was just the type of places I was going, like, Morocco, Turkey, these kind of places that I'd go on holiday. My experience has always been like, that there's cats everywhere. Like on like, for example, like you're in a restaurant and I would never sit outside in the restaurants. And that's because like you'd be sitting there and like, randomly like a cat would like walk through your feet, and it was a bit uncomfortable for me. And so my experience was that, and so I kind of thought that's probably gonna be the case here as well. But no, actually, like it's really civilized even with animals. Like you won't really see random camel, like you see like today I was driving you do see like where I was driving today, like the car in front of me had like 3 or 4 camels inside it, right? but like they're obviously being transported somewhere.
They weren't driving, were they?
No. So yeah, generally speaking, there are a lot of animals here, but like it's very civilized.
Yeah, I was thinking wild animals when Kareem asked that. There's obviously camels. So there's always camels like by the side of the road that I live near in the early morning because they're eating and stuff.
Really?
There's also
nice.
in that Emirates Road. If you go early morning,
No, he's not going to go to Emirates Road anymore, bro.
yeah. But they can't
It's
they
not a
can't
main
come on the
road.
road. There's a big fence. They can't. You can see them from the road. There's oryxes, not oryxes. Oryxes, like the kind of like deers with like long antlers and stuff.
Okay.
There's foxes I saw a fox here once, little desert fox. They're quite
wow.
cute.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a few interesting wild animals.
Yeah, I wasn't asking about the wild animals because I know
Fine.
doesn't
Alright,
even
sorry.
go to that level.
Take all that back then.
But that's nice though. That sounds like
I
a
like
vibe.
camels, man. I like camels. There's a place where you can go to feed the camels. I want to go back there. It's becoming winter now, so I want to go back to feed the camels. There's an owl cafe. I really like owls. There's an owl cafe in Abu Dhabi, which I want to go to. Where like literally the owls
cool.
like
I
flying
love
around.
owls. Owls are
Yeah.
legit.
They are legit, aren't they? I've held an owl before.
They're so cool. Like they look crazy. Like if you look at an owl, like if you look outside, there's a pigeon. You look at a same type of bird as an owl.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's crazy. And they look really cool and they make funny noises. Amazing.
What do you mean the
And-
same type of bird is an owl?
Like it's the same species. It is
Same
like
species,
say
isn't it?
if there was another human, but you see where I'm going with this. That
Yeah.
looks
So
like
do
an
owls
owl.
Basically-
can they 360 their head?
Almost, I think. Almost.
I think so. Yeah.
But
My
yeah.
son likes owls.
360.
That'd be
Seriously, that's all the whole way around. Probably up 170.
no, 180.
That's so specific.
Yeah, 170 was super.
So,
What's that? 45.
No,
25.
90, I think.
That's 90.
That's 90. Yeah, it's
That's
90
90.
degrees. I think an owl can do at least 100. It can do at least 180.
I reckon
But yeah.
180.
yeah.
Yeah, it can.
How
Owls,
you
if
would
you
never want to? You would never want to
What would
backbite.
you need to do?
You would never want to backbite an owl. Like
Also, another thing I love about owls, is that or at least barn owls, they fly like almost silently, which I find beautiful. There's videos on YouTube where you can watch them flying silently, and it's like it shouldn't even be possible. Like when you see the size of their feathers and stuff, but they're literally flying in almost silence. It's just like a very beautiful thing.
so, I've not seen any owls here.
Annalie, you've known Faisal for the longest. What do you think is going through his head throughout this conversation?
Highly
I was
irritated,
thinking about earlier,
angry.
when we were talking about dogs, I was thinking about him and us in uni, and I just remember anytime he had for dogs he had eagle eyes. He could spot a dog from a mile
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, I can
So
sniff a dog.
anytime
I can
there's like
sniff a dog
any
out.
whiff of a dog, we'd start crossing the road. I'm like, what's up? Yeah, dog's coming, bro. I was like, okay.
I've seen him do that. I've seen him do that myself a
I
couple of
haven't
times.
Have
even
you?
seen it, bro. I haven't even
Yeah.
seen this dog. I'm looking for it. I can't find it. It's miles away.
You know, my son was like intrigued by. My son kind of likes animals, and so my son's been to a cat cafe.
I've been to that as well.
The one in which one did you go to?
Arjan.
Maybe the one.
Was
might
it
be
Barsha
pretty
South?
different.
Was it Barsha South? I'm pretty sure Arjan.
I don't know,
Yeah,
some
Arjan.
posh area. It was like some small mall.
Oh no, I didn't go to that one.
Yeah, so there was anyway. So he went to Calgary, and also there's an area near my house which is like an area where people live and stuff. So it's like a compound, but specifically in that area, animals are allowed to walk around freely, and so they have peacocks, chickens, donkeys. I mean, the donkeys can't walk around freely. They are in like a bit of a confiscated area, like a boarded up area, but like for the most part, like freely in that area, obviously, and stuff like that. So. Yeah, I went there once with him. I was like so uncomfortable. Like he goes there regularly with his
Really?
mum and stuff. Yeah, it's
That's,
just like
that's such a lovely place, man. Why is it so uncomfortable? It's like it's a donkey, basically like a large like
I don't
corner
know,
of
man.
area.
My
There's
relationship,
just
man,
chickens
I mean-
running around.
I do wish I was better with animals, but yeah, like I'm not the best around animals. Like often, like when I'm invited around someone's house, I'll ask the person who I'm closest to. Like let's say for example, me, Onali, and like another person were invited to someone's house. I would like text Onali like, oh, does that person have any pets? Listen to
You
this,
sent a
yeah.
little questionnaire. Do they have any live chickens roaming in the living room?
Faisal, haven't you asked before someone to lock their pets in a room before you get there?
Numerous times.
I think you have. Yeah.
numerous
Yeah, lock
times.
them away.
Oh my goodness.
No, I'm like, that sounds so much more aggressive than like what he actually is. Like, I'll be like, okay, so there's a few things that happen. Like, sometimes I'll be like, someone will be like, oh, I'll be like, oh, do you have pets? And they'll be like, oh yeah, why? Like, are you allergic?
Just petrified.
I wouldn't necessarily say yeah, I'm allergic, but I'll be like, I have asthma. and that's enough for them to lock their. That's enough for them to lock their pets in another room.
Yeah.
But I have also like been to people's houses. Like, for example, remember Yusuf Ali's house in Cardiff on Leon, and he had 3 cats, and I was like, they were like on my lap and stuff. So I think it's more so dogs. Like, if dogs, like, yeah, I'll be like, guys, I'm really young. I mean, I haven't been to a person who has dogs is a house in years and years and years. But if I were to, yeah, I'll be like, I'm really uncomfortable around dogs. Like, do you mind, like, I don't know, like, just can we be in a room where like the dog can't come in or something? But I mean, it's not really possible now because I don't know anybody who has a dog. I cut them all out of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, there's another story, right, which is like when we were younger in primary school, every year our class would go, every year, year 6s or year 5s would go to a farm, like for like a week, right? And you just do all these farm activities. And I didn't go because I was petrified. And then, but like at the same time, like we were going to Dubai as a family holiday, like, somewhere like near that time, but not at that time, yeah. But like, so like it didn't clash at all, yeah. But then when I was at school, people would be like, see me, like, oh, like I would have to do like these, like I'd have like sit with a one-on-one like a teaching assistant for the day because I wasn't going to go to the farm. My whole school's ever. And so other years would be like, Facebook, like, you didn't go to the farm, and I'm like, oh, now I'm going to Dubai. I'm going to Dubai, so I couldn't go to the farm.
That's jokes. Yeah. So were they trying to like give you like therapy, like one-on-one sessions? Like, why are you afraid of the chickens, Facebook? What?
No, but I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm afraid of chickens now. Like, we went to that place and I was fine around it, but I definitely am not like super comfortable around animals.
I think you and me should go to that place and just like,
yeah, we should.
Like, we should just like sit with the donkeys, man.
Yeah. So okay. So there's something that actually I haven't actually told anyone. So around the time that we were creating loads of content at Freshly Grounded, there was like called like. There's like made halal and current events, stuff like that. So I came up with another concept of another video, and the idea of the video was like helping people, like surprising people, basically, yeah. So something that someone really wants to do, like arranging it for them. So I thought, So I thought, like, okay, this concept of this Freshly Grounded video, I should be the first one to like put myself in the driving seat, so that I'm like not making people do things that I wouldn't be comfortable doing, right? And so the idea of this video was to face your fears, right? So I had arranged with Ajmal. So have you guys seen Ajmal's dog, like previous dog? Like, I don't know, because obviously I don't think he has it anymore. Like maybe like it was like a guard dog or something. I'm not sure. Have you guys? Has anybody seen it? All right, this dog. Let me get it up on. I'm gonna get it up on my phone. Right? But this is this is like the dog of dogs, yeah, and I basically was planning a video, an episode, like the first episode, to be for me to get over my fear of dogs. And the first video would have been, by the end of that week, or by the end of that video, I would have to be alone with Ajmal's dog. And we never ended up...
I never heard of that. I never heard of that concept. I wish I did.
You'd have forced me into it. Let me show you Ajmal's dog, like... This is like, so the idea was I was going to start by just going to like visit like some like rabbits or something in the video. I just get comfortable around animals. Kai is dead.
Oh my days. Yeah, go on.
And then, like,
Can I just say, we're talking to a person who's skydived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean I'm not scared of rabbits per se.
That's what I'm saying.
Get comfortable around animals.
For me, I probably couldn't skydive because quite frankly I'm scared of heights. Yeah, I just couldn't. I don't think I could do it. But you conquered that. But like little animals, it's what's getting.
So like,
me.
I'm not like, I wouldn't say
I think it's very different to like that kind of fear. I think it's very different.
I think you know what it is. Yeah, I think it's just it just epitomizes how irrational fear is, basically.
Yeah,
and not necessarily Faisal's fear, but like my fear of heights is also or any other fear I've got is mostly irrational.
Fear is irrational, yeah.
And really just a lack of trust in Allah. Do you know what I mean? So when it comes to fear and anxiety and stuff, I made a joke just now about you skydive, but you don't like dogs. But really, there's no logic to any of my fears or phobias either. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I'll start to develop fears and phobias that are completely irrational, or some anxiety is completely irrational. Doesn't make any sense. And it's not there's anything wrong with me for that. It's just that's the nature of fear and anxiety. It isn't rational, which is the first I tell myself to get over it. It's like, you're being irrational, you're being logical. But yeah, just wanted to make that point.
Does it work? When you tell yourself that?
What's that, Green?
I said, does it work when you telling yourself that it's irrational? Does it work, or does it make you feel more shame?
It's a good first step. It's a good first step that I did. Yeah, that is mashallah method. Is that a kangal? Oh no, it's not a kangal.
It's a Russian.
That's legit though.
It's a Russian albino. No, what is it called? It's a Russian. Is that one of its kind? Like, is the only one in the UK? Like they imported it from Russia.
Only one in the UK.
That's a big dog,
wow.
I believe so, and it grew from like it grew in like I don't know weeks, bro, to like a huge. And his bark is just it's really scary.
So what happened?
Where did they keep it outside?
Yeah, they built like a whole cage outside for it and stuff.
Wow. You got to build a house for that, man. You got to build like a 3-bedroom yard just to keep it.
B&Q shed. You need to go B&Q and go to get like a large shed.
It was like a bear, yeah. But you're right. So okay, so let's Adam, if you could weigh in on this while we're on the discussion of fears and anxiety. So Adam, for those of you guys don't know, is a expert on men's mental health. No, but but definitely someone who's like studied and written about mental health and stuff like that. So what's your take on fears?
I was reading one time, fear is the end point of the fear. I'm terrified of spiders. Like, I'll run away over a smallest spider, even a cartoon spider I get scared of. There was an episode of The Simpsons I was watching, and Bart was a fly, and he went into a spider, and I was scared of the spider. Oh, this is ridiculous. This is not real. But I think all fear comes down to the fear of death. Like, this can harm me, and therefore I'll die. I was reading that somewhere. I heard about it somewhere. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. Fear. I don't know. Fear, anxiety. I don't know what. I don't know. What does it come down to? Why you kind of have to question, like, what's the end goal of this piece of anxiety I'm going through? Is it fear I'm going to die, or is it I'm scared of something? And you kind of question yourself and interrogate yourself to say, okay, why? Why is that? And keep asking yourself why to the point of you kind of the logic kind of wins. Like, okay, now it's. Yeah,
that's true. Asking yourself why, like, why are you scared of this? Why are you scared of this right now? Like, where's it coming from? That can help me as well.
Helps me a lot.
I'm having sort of anxiety.
Or I ask myself, who told you that? Like, who said that? Why is that true? And it's like, yeah, that's not true. Who told you that? That kind of helps me.
Then you bring out the cane mask. And everything changes.
It's over there. You know what I did? What I want to do. I want to put the Kane mask on. You know when Kane wears his mask, then we can bring up that image, Faisal. Bring it up. Of Kane wearing the mask. He doesn't wear the mask. He has black makeup on underneath. So it's legit scary.
Yeah.
I don't know why we moved that, but anyway.
If we get the Kane mask out on the screen, can we do a side by side?
I'm not putting on it far away, and I can't bother to get it. And
because the original storyline of Kane was that his face was all burnt up. Remember, that was the original storyline.
Yeah,
I was scared of Kane when I was growing up. When he come out, I was literally like, it is bedtime. Yeah, it is quite late actually. I should probably go to bed because he was legit scary. Undertaker I could handle, but he was scary because I was always afraid that today will be the day that the mask will come off. That's what we're scared of, like the constant potential that today's the day that I'm masking. So I think they put the makeup on because it was like he's supposed to be all burnt up and stuff. And then the day they took it off,
it's like it's really scary.
Random.
It worked really well. Can you see that? Can you see that eye makeup? It's really good.
Yeah.
Did you know that this guy? Did you know that this guy now is the mayor of Glendale or something like that, or mayor of some kind of like some state in America?
That's jokes.
He actually visited a Muslim school.
Did he?
It was on his Instagram. Yeah. He went to a Muslim school. Yeah, I remember. I don't know if it was a Muslim school, but there was loads of like little girls wearing hijab and stuff. And he was there, and he was obviously Kane. He's like 6'8" or something. And I was like, this is amazing. So I was like, that's cool. Yeah, he's a nice guy. That. I love Kane.
Have you met him?
I've not met him. I wish I would meet him.
There's still time.
That's gonna be the next episode when you're surprising people. You're gonna surprise them.
We should definitely surprise. We have to surprise Adam one day with Kane. We have to.
Hello.
Yeah, he's gonna be fully costumed up at his front door. Like literally opens the front door, like fully costumed, masked up Kane, just like standing there.
He must do that like all the time, like the superheroes and stuff like that. Like that must happen.
Yeah.
Like,
but which little kid is like asking for Kane to come and visit their bedside when they're sick? Like, Kane is coming to see you in the hospital.
My dreams come true.
Not the most comforting sight, is it?
How obnoxious do you have to be to do that as well? Like, imagine someone, like some kid is like not feeling well, and I turned up the door. I was like, it's Faisal from Freshly Grounded.
Why are you here?
They like bring the microphone and stand as a prop.
Yeah. Like we filmed the video, like, today we're gonna surprise this like little kid, like he's got chicken pox. And like, hey, it's Faisal Freshly Grounded. That was so funny. Kareem, you were saying something before I asked Adam his opinion on fears.
I was?
Yeah. You're like
you asked me if it what did it say? If I find it helps.
I was asking him the same kind of. Adam kind of said the same thing. To be honest, I was just asking, does knowing that it's irrational help? And Adam was kind of agreeing. He was saying that like just asking why, essentially just kind of getting to the butt of the irrationality seems to help. So I was just curious about that.
One thing that really helped me, so not necessarily with my fears that are like those kind of fears, but with fears, I can often end up like overthinking a lot and overthinking myself in some serious anxiety. And then I start like thinking about scenarios that you know this, Kareem, about me as well. Like I'll start getting anxiety over scenarios that is quite fairly irrational. Like you could hear these scenarios happening in the world, but you know, they're kind of like 1 in a million kind of cases, and I'll start thinking like really deep about these things, right? And so there's two things that really helped me with it. One thing that helped me was reading the book. The book was by Dale Carnegie, How to Start Living and Stop Worrying. Have any of you guys read that book?
No.
I would really recommend it. So I think it's How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, or How to Start Living and Stop Worrying. One of the two. Stop Worrying and Start Living. And it's got a bunch of techniques and frameworks as well. So practical frameworks you can apply in your life that really help. So like there's like this 3-step framework that's like you ask yourself like, okay, what are the facts of what's happened? What is the worst case scenario of what could happen? And then the third one is like, how would I handle that worst case scenario if it were to happen? And once you've answered those 3 questions, you kind of put the thing to the side. You're like, okay, well, now I'm going to go ahead and do this because I've just figured out how I would even handle it if the worst case scenario was to happen, even though that's like such an irrational thing. And it's probably like not going to happen. But even if it were to, now I know even how I'd handle that. And then, but then anyway, there was a bunch of frameworks. There's an amazing book. The second thing that helped me, kind of alluding to what Adam just said, was it was reminding myself that Allah is not like, basically reminding myself that Allah is my protector. So that's like one of the things we know about Allah is he's like one of his names and attributes that he's the protector, right? So he's the protector, he's the loving. Reminding myself of Allah's names and attributes and remembering that I definitely fall short like all the time, but I am trying to live my life to please Allah, and Allah knows that, right? And inshallah that's true. And I'm like, Allah knows what's in people's hearts. And so if I really believe that I'm trying to every day live to try and please Allah, and on top of, and I care a lot about what He wants from His creation and stuff like that, then, and we also equally know that He is the provider and He's the sustainer and He is the one who loves, then when I put all of those together, why do I think that me singled out, Allah just wants to give me a a really difficult this scenario to happen? Rather, I should be thinking, so the thing that kind of made me better myself was when I was Allah is how you think of Him. I am how my servant thinks of me, right? And so I should think of Allah in those scenarios particularly. Actually, no, Allah's going to protect me in this. Allah's going to be Allah doesn't want me to necessarily suffer or and X, Y, Z, whatever the thought is at that point. Why would Allah is my protector and He is the one who loves and He is the one who is my Lord, and I should completely have tawakkul in Him entirely. That really helped, that thought process. But it took for somebody to remind me that, because I was going through a really bad episode. This is really the worst episode I'd had of crippling anxiety. And alhamdulillah, I haven't had it since. And this was maybe 2.5 years ago. I think it was I think I can actually pin it to being August 2019 or 20. And I was with this one brother, and he said to me, he goes, I remember once you told me that you had something similar happen. How did you get out of that? And then that's when he reminded me that it was remembering about Allah and stuff like that. And ever since I've reminded myself that that's what the thought process that I go through, alhamdulillah, Allahumma barik, I haven't experienced any low to that extent. I've experienced hard times, but that low wasn't because of my external factors. I was doing it to myself. I was beating my brain internally, and I think so that was very helpful.
Yeah, I think some of the frameworks is firstly, thinking good of Allah. Yeah, thinking good of Allah is extremely important and so often overlooked by people. It's just no, don't expect Allah to hit you with a huge trial. Yes, we should expect trials to come our way, but in general, we should think good of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then after that, it's you also mentioned worst case scenario. So I think to myself, when I'm getting anxious about a situation, I'll say, okay, what is worst case scenario? Worst case scenario is I die right now in this situation. I could die. What's the big deal about that? I'm a Muslim. Alhamdulillah, I'm a Muslim. I will die a Muslim. Inshallah, that would be, dying in that situation maybe could be good for me in that sense. And that's that. I'm preparing for death by trying to do my obligations, that kind of thing. If death is coming. It's already written. There's no point worrying about it. As Muslims, we shouldn't fear death like that, right? We should, want to have long lives full of good deeds. But if death is written, then alhamdulillah, we want to meet Allah, inshallah. May Allah make us of those people who want to meet Him. So if you think of it that way, it's okay. Worst case, I die. It's not a big deal. We should sort of make that more palatable to ourselves. It's okay, worst case, I die, man. It is what it is. I'm gonna die anyway. And then after that, I just think to myself, again, so what I say to myself, okay, if I die, but then I leave my family behind, but it's so what? Allah is the one who's providing for your family, looking after your family, not me. I don't have any power to do anything anyway, So any provision that's coming to them or any, benefit that I'm giving my family is from Allah, not even from me. So if I'm not in the picture anymore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is still the provider, the protector. So yeah, that's what I tell myself. That's the worst case scenario. And when I get that sorted in my head, okay, worst case scenario, alhamdulillah, that's good in everything. And after that, I sort of work backwards. Logically though, I'm probably not going to die right now. It's probably like this, probably like that. I talk myself out of it backwards like that. I sort of reverse engineer the situation like that. And then usually I end up, it can take me a couple of times of doing whatever that thing is, but I'll usually end up saying okay, I'm cool now. And also don't forget about just the power of repetition, the power of doing things more than once, right? So anxiety coming from a specific scenario, it happened first time. If you go for that reverse engineering thing the first time, it'll work to an extent. Second time works to more of an extent. Third time even more so. Fourth time, you're not even thinking about it, right? So just doing things more and getting used to things a bit more is just also a psychological hack that people want to run away from because they don't want to do it. But if it's something that you need to do, just do it 3 times. You'll probably be fine the 4th time.
Another thing to remember as well, is that a lot of these things we're created with. For example, Allah said, "Inna al-insana khuliqa halu'a." That means literally, indeed, mankind was created with anxiety. So anxiety is something that we can be tested with. Some people might have more of it, some people might have less of it, but it's something that we are built with. It's something that Allah has instilled within us. So we can only return to Him to seek assistance from it.
And one more thing I wanted to add as well, like anxiety is when you get trapped too much in the future. As people, as Muslims, we have to remain in the present. We have to be grounded in the present, the right here, right now. Allah knows the world of the unseen. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So one of the things we should do is remain grounded in the present and be like, I'm here, rather than focusing so much in our future, which is we don't even know what's happening. It's not written yet from our perspective, but only Allah knows. So it's almost just like ground yourself.
Here. Ground yourself and trust Allah. And like, if you're in like a dangerous, anxious situation, it's like, you could tell yourself, why am I suddenly not trusting Allah now? Whereas when I was sort of driving down here, I was fine, or I was sitting in my bedroom and I was fine. Like you could fall into some sort of calamity just sitting alone in a room. You could die. You know what I mean? So why suddenly you're not trusting Allah just because of a slight environmental change or a slight mood change, whatever it may be? It's not a logical thing to do, and it shows a deficiency in your tawakkul. It's like you should just rely on Allah in all situations, because even when you're alone in your room, you feel like you're in control, but you're not. You're not in control of a single atom in that room. Your own body and outside your body, you're not in control of anything. So why are you not in constant anxiety? You're just tricking yourself into feeling like you're in control, whereas in reality, true comfort comes from knowing that you're never really in control of anything, and therefore you should trust Allah, and Allah is the best of planners, and whatever is written for you, there's good in it. So that means you should be unanxious all the time rather than anxious some of the time when you forget that you're not in control.
I want to carry this episode on because I'm enjoying the conversation, but I'm conscious that looking through Adam's window, it looks like Maghrib's coming in the UK.
Indeed.
So we'll have to let you guys go, but hopefully we can carry the conversation on next week, inshallah. It was a pleasure, just like it was last week. It was an honor to have you back as well, Adam. We didn't get to dig into you as much as we could have, so hopefully you're going to be regular on here whenever you can make it. We're going to be here every Sunday 5 p.m. or 5 p.m. UK time, so whenever you can make it, bro, it'd be lovely to have you on. Likewise, everyone. And anyone have any final words?
Vicariously.
Yeah.
Don't live vicariously. No. Live for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
And get some home automation so you can do stuff like this.
Ooh! That is good. I've got that. I'm going to do it as well. No, challenge accepted.
Should we cycle through the colours quick?
Yeah, fine.
Hazel's literally, he's sitting there. Look at his setup.
I was waiting for someone to do that.
He's got the little thing. I don't know what that thing is there. He's got.
You know what? I've decided I'm going to do.
Lights behind him. He still wants that little thing.
Okay. I've decided what I'm going to do. Right, is I'm going to. I was thinking by having it look like this. Yeah. The problem with this is that I look like the host very clearly because I've got the Freshly Ground logo. I've got the camera set up like that and stuff like that. And I don't want to look like the host. I want it us all to be all hosts, right? And
you just want to set your lights, man.
Yes, I think that's what we have to do. We have to either I have to downgrade my set, or I'm gonna have to upgrade your guys' set. And so I ain't downgraded my set, so I'm gonna upgrade everyone.
Please upgrade my lifestyle, please. And,
I can't wait. I'm gonna come visit your house. I'm gonna put coffee machines everywhere.
Terribly. I've set it up terribly. The home tool, it's great. The devices are great, but I'm just not good at setting up. But,
no, we'll create everyone's sets and mics and everything eventually. We'll get you a sound interface.
Ooh, we'll do that in a minute. I'll vicariously live through the sound interface.
Fine. All right, guys. Thank you so much. You guys go do your thing, inshallah. We'll catch everyone soon. We'll see you next week, inshallah. Thank you, guys.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.